Beautiful humans, welcome back to another episode of Soul Speaks with Spack. As always, I'm not here to posture as the guy that's got all the answers and got my life all figured out. I'm here to be real, to share what's true for me, my inner experience, and to trust that that's going to resonate and land with whoever it's meant to. It's Men's Mental Health Month, June, and I see a lot of people posting on Facebook about men's mental health and statistics around the amount of men that have committed suicide and the amount of men that are incarcerated in comparison to women, and all of these statistics, which are fantastic. It's great to be aware, but I think we're missing a big piece of the puzzle, a big issue that's not being spoken about that could be the bridge that actually shifts these statistics in a positive way. So this isn't a TED talk. This is a real talk, a conversation man to man, and for the women that are listening in too, because I truly believe that women want to support men. No one likes to hear these statistics that are quite shocking, the amount of men that take their own life. I've heard of many men that have taken their own life and left behind families, children, a wife to deal with the mess. The big issue that I believe we're not talking about is what men are actually dealing with, what gets us there in the first place. The shame, the isolation, the loneliness, not knowing how to speak up or to reach out or to ask for support, feeling the pressure to hold it all together, feeling the pressure to perform and achieve and provide and protect. It's a lot. I've come from a beautiful family. I'm the eldest of 3 boys. I've got 2 younger brothers. My dad, he's a man from the country. He's a man that doesn't show emotion. He's a man that expresses his love through consistency and providing and being dependable. And my mum, on the other hand, my mum, God bless her, is the over-nurturer, always taking care of other people's needs, but maybe sometimes neglecting herself. And so me growing up in that environment, I felt like I was the one that was responsible for my mum's emotional state. And if she was angry or frustrated, I did whatever I could to fix things and try and control the environment and stop my brothers from playing up so that mum could be calm. And I also had this belief growing up that it was weak to show emotion. But there's also been many times in my life where I felt like I don't belong, or I feel like I can't really connect. And I felt unsure, like I want to connect with men, not in a soft, mushy kind of way, but in a real way, beyond surface level conversations about footy and horse racing and gambling and clubbing and partying and women. So Men's Mental Health Month, there is something deeper that's not being discussed, and it's the silent battles that men navigate through alone and think that no one else is dealing with. Because I genuinely, growing up, there were moments where, despite my life looking fine from the outside in, there were moments where I genuinely wanted to end my own life. I felt like, what was the point of living? What is all this for? And one of the things that I think has kept me here is my family. So I feel for the men that have taken their own lives. I feel for the men that struggle in silence. I genuinely do. And I've experienced brotherhood in a way like I've never experienced before. When I was in Austin, Texas, I connected with a group of men called the Empowered Brotherhood. I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but these were men that put on a free weekly workout for men to come together. There was no investment, show up as you are. And it was the first time that I felt welcomed, accepted, and embraced as I was in that moment, not for who I'd been in my past. They weren't seeing me through the lens I was seeing myself, through this story of the past that I was attached to. They were seeing me as I was in that moment, and they welcomed me in like one of them, like I was their brother. And we worked out physically together. We trained hard. And at the end, we'd circle up, and one of the coaches, one of the leaders within the space, would come forward and share a story that would be rather vulnerable, something difficult that they dealt with in life and come out on top of. And this could, in some instances, crack some of the other men open. And some of these other men may have just gotten out of prison. But a lot of these men were just normal men wanting to connect with other men, wanting to be better versions of themselves. And so this, for me, was an incredible experience. And it helped me feel more connected to the other men in my life. And it reminded me that I'm not alone in my struggles. It reminded me that I'm not that different from another man that is struggling with heavy shit in life. So the conversation that I think is very important for us to have, considering it's Men's Mental Health Month, is how can we respect the men that are in our lives? How can we accept and embrace the men that are in our lives for who they are, not for what they could live up to, not for their potential. And that's huge, because one of the core wounds that men face is a father type wound, is a wound where they were only acknowledged or appreciated when they scored that winning goal, when they got that job, when they made the top grade team. And so that can shape a man in such a way that leads him to believe that if he's not achieving, if he's not striving, if he's not doing more, then he's not enough. And I believe it is valuable for a man to be driven and devoted and committed to a mission, but not at the expense of his own sense of self. If his own sense of self is tied up in all that, it's going to be like chasing a moving target, always striving and never arriving. So we talk about men, it's not weak to speak. Men need to be more vulnerable. Men need to open up and express. But why is that? What value does that offer a man? Are we saying that just so men don't commit suicide anymore? Why is that? I think the more important conversation to be having is that we need men to start being real and honest with themselves. If you as a man are struggling, if you feel isolated and alone, if you have a tendency to withdraw, then it's worth acknowledging that. It's worth getting real about that. It's worth no longer hiding and keeping that from the world. It's worth being honest with yourself and with someone that you trust, a safe person. That's a worthy cause. But when all we hear as men is we just need to be more vulnerable and more open and more expressive, some of us as men have lived our whole lives believing that to show any emotion is a sign of weakness, is going to lead to us feeling rejected or abandoned. So this is why I think the conversation is about the importance of being real and being honest as a man, and not going through life alone, not tying so much of your identity and your self-worth to your achievements and your accolades and to your relationship. The relationship you have with yourself as a man is the most important relationship that you will ever have in life, because at the end of the day, people are going to come and go. But at the end of the road, all you have is yourself. And this is not to say that you should be selfish and believe that the world revolves around you, but it's to remind you that it's okay to fill up your own cup. It's okay to invest time and energy back into yourself. So for all the ladies out there, you have men in your life that you want to support, that you care about, but sometimes you can be part of the problem by focusing on your man's potential and all of the ways that he's not living up to his potential and all of the things that he needs to do to meet your needs, to help you feel a certain way. I'm not saying that you disown your desires and your values, and I'm not saying that you settle for a man that isn't meeting your needs or supporting you in the way that you deserve to be supported. But what I'm saying is, we as human beings, regardless if you're a man or a woman, have the ability to support and acknowledge each other as we are, for who we are, not for the potential we can live up to, but simply for who we are. And so it can be as simple as looking at your man or your father or your son and saying, I see you, I acknowledge you, you're doing a great job, I'm proud of you. That right there is so simple, not even a minute of your time, but that right there can be so inspiring and energizing to a man. And it can be the exact thing that reminds him of why he is here. It can be the exact thing that pulls him out of that funk that he might be in. Do not underestimate the value of acknowledging any human in life. It doesn't matter if you're a man acknowledging a woman or a woman acknowledging a man. This to me is far more important than being aware of all the statistics. This to me is far more beneficial in terms of making a positive change in the world. Awareness is just the first step. But now that we're aware, what are we going to do about it? Why does it matter? These are the important questions I think we should be asking this month and every other month as human beings. This is not about pointing fingers. I'm not here to say you should do better or you need to do better. I'm here to build a bridge between these statistics we're seeing about the increase in the number of men that are committing suicide, that are resorting to drugs and alcohol, that are being incarcerated. I'm here to build the bridge so that we can actually create real change, sustainable change, not just surface level statistics and awareness. Because if you're anything like me, you probably see that and think that is horrible. That's terrible. But what am I going to do about it? What do I have to do with that? How can I change that? And the reality is the change begins with me, begins with you. It begins with us, and it begins with acknowledging ourselves and the fact that sometimes just being human is enough. Sometimes just existing in this world is a pretty difficult thing to do. So I trust that this has resonated with you. If it has, please share it around with people that you think need to hear it. You're not alone. We're not alone. What you're struggling with, I guarantee there are millions of other people out there right now that are struggling with that as well. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't be struggling or you should just suck it up and get over it, but it's just to remind you that we're better off together. It is important to stay connected to yourself, to what you're going through. It is important to stay connected to other people as well. So that's why the isolating, the shutting down, the withdrawing, all of that is problematic, because what you bury, it doesn't disappear. It doesn't go anywhere. It just gets layered and layered and layered on top of more and more crap. And then you become the one that's triggered and reactive and angry, and you push people away, and then it reaffirms this sense of shame and loneliness and isolation. I'm better off just to shut myself off and to disappear and to be invisible and to shrink. But that's not true. That's just a survival protective mechanism. So I'm inviting the true you to come through, because that is so beautiful. It gives me freaking goosebumps just talking about it right now. Because trust me, there are so many times where I shrink. There are so many times where I want to be invisible. There are so many times where I avoid certain things because I'm human too. But I remind myself that it is safe to take up space, that it is valuable to express and to connect and to be myself and to share my story. There is so much value in that. So if there's anything that you take from this episode, it's that. It is okay to be you as you are, wherever you are. In fact, it is important. It's essential. And even that may sound a little confusing. Oh yeah, just be me, be who I am. And it can feel a little bit difficult at times to just be yourself, especially if you wear so many different hats and you wear so many different masks. You wear the employee mask, you wear the father and mother mask, you wear the auntie and uncle mask. Remember that people value you. You are important. You matter. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening in. As I mentioned, if this has resonated, share it with a friend, just a friend that you think could benefit from it. If you want to chuck it up on your socials, do that as well. And this has been another spontaneous episode from the car. So I'm enjoying this format. I hope you are as well. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a beautiful day.